Okay, so back to our known sample, the Biomonster. This was taken, the the fly was killed, hunted and killed on January 29, and it stayed for a while in the freezer, as you remember, and a couple of days after that, we have demonstrated that the yellow pools, right after they are out of the freezer, they look like alive and swarming with germ-like creatures, even though it was just after they were taken from the freezer, from temperature of something like minus 20 degrees Celsius. Of course, I had to just wipe the slide, the microscope slide a little bit, so the frost will be removed, so we can we'll be able to put it in the microscope. But other than that, it was pretty frozen, and we've seen life, and we've seen an activity of the Neros. Now, since then, it's like I think more than a week now that the slide was in pretty much airtight bag, but not in the freezer, just on the table, and I didn't touch it. But now we can look together, we can watch together and see if there is interesting stuff. So one thing that I see very clearly is that we no longer see the rocks. We had many rock formation, if you remember, that I wondered what are they? Maybe they are just frozen water. I don't know. Even though I didn't add water to the sample, it's only my semen and the fly. So we don't see the rocks. We do see a large concentration of pools here. In the nose, near the head, and I can already tell you that an interesting thing that we can see is that some of the Neros look alive. I didn't find germ. Maybe we will look together now again. I looked before I started the video. I've done like a preliminary watch, but I didn't find germs. But maybe they still exist, even though a lot of time was passed. What are these? They were breaking, I guess, from they look organic, right? The two columns or lines of it looks like bricks, right? And here we see more of them. Is it? It's surely. It's not something random. It's part of the fly, but I don't understand how they got disconnected from it. We can maybe look, try to see inside the bricks what are they composed of. Just it's kind of interesting. So we see Nero activity near it. You definitely see. You see the yellow pools scattered in the vicinity of this line of columns, like a line of bricks. It's interesting. Maybe we'll do maximum zoom not on the bricks himself, but on this little pool. Just right here. Maybe we can get, to see something, I don't know. So we see the pool, the structure of the pool, the structure of the column. Of course, I don't know. It's probably part of the fly, because we've seen other of these, but I don't know what is it. Maybe someone can suggest an answer. So wait, I will zoom out again. now I'm lost. So this is the formation, and we wanted to see some narrow activity in its vicinity. Maybe here in this giant yellow pool. We see some flow. Not sure what's the origin of the flow. Okay, this is maximum zoom. I don't have any more input to say on this particular formation. Change of focus shows many neros in here next to this column of line of bricks. They seem alive, but I'm not certain. They do not seem to contain germs, but they seem that they're still alive themselves. But I'm not certain about it. They don't look like dead neros. We've seen dead ones, but then they don't look dead. These two are in the famous typical, copulating formation. Okay, so near the head of the bag we have seen some interesting stuff, right? Wait a second. Just a second. Just a moment. Okay, so I don't see life here. Let's zoom out again and search for the head. So here we see a huge amount of yellow pools. Let's take a look at one of the bigger ones. This one near the wing. Let's see what we can find inside this pool. A giant pool. Let's zoom in some more. So we see some action here. I'm not sure it's an action of a living creature or action of the Neros. Interesting. Maybe it's life over there, I don't know. You see some moving things, we don't have... Yes. So we have some life here. You see that with me? It's interesting that they survived, only on, after they got frosted and it was, I think it's more than a week now since last video that it was in the bag. So it's interesting that the germs, some germs survive, or germ creatures survived, and certainly the Neros seem to be working on something. I mean, they have an agenda, right? I mean, they're not just doing their stuff. They're doing. I mean, they're not just hanging around near the corpse. They're doing something. I mean, it's interesting. They're doing something. I don't know what, but we see a lot of Nero activity that is still ongoing. Many yellow pools. This is something red or reddish. I have not colored this sample, so all the colors are, I mean, from the sample itself, or, I mean, probably from the activity of the Neros. This is orange. This is red pool. This is something new. Unfortunately, we don't have as more zoom in than that. More, I mean, further magnification is impossible, but it's interesting. And I think that I see some life there, over there. Is that correct? Little creatures that are moving, germ-like creatures moving near the Neros. Okay, I think that for now it will be all with this sample. I'll return it to an airtight bag, and I will start showing you new samples that of creatures that I mean, some of them I killed just maybe 4 hours ago. When I prepared the samples, and I think the 2 of them were based on like old corpses that I found in the house. 1 or 2 belong to old corpses, all covered with semen. By now, I mean, 4 hours passed, so they should all be freezed, because I mean these are small samples. But I guess that we will not see a lot of activity because it takes time. But it's interesting to see what we can gather. Already, I'll take the samples out in pairs, so they will not be exposed, out to the freezer when not needed. And when I'm finished with each pair, I will return it to the freezer to be kept there. And maybe tomorrow or the day after, we will have more. We will rewatch the samples. So the first 2 I'll bring the first 2 in a couple of minutes.